Chosen one, at exactly 3:14 this morning, something shifted in the spiritual realm over your finances. You did not feel it yet. You were asleep. But the transfer was initiated, not by a bank, not by a person, by the hand of God himself. And what he moved into position for you is not small. It is not modest. It is not just enough to get by. What the Father has prepared for your account, for your name, for your household, carries the weight of a billionaire blessing. And I need you to hear me carefully today, because what I am about to walk you through is going to change the way you see every single financial delay you have ever experienced. There is a reason you clicked on this. There is a reason your thumb stopped scrolling. Something inside of you, something deeper than logic, something older than your doubt, recognized this moment. And that recognition is not random, it is confirmation. The Holy Spirit does not waste your attention. He does not lead you to words that were not meant for you. So if you are here right now, breathing, listening, receiving, then what I am about to share was written with your name already attached to it. Before we go any further, I need you to do something with me. I need you to take a breath, not a shallow one, a real one. Fill your lungs, hold it for 3 seconds, and as you release, say these words quietly or loudly. It does not matter. Say, God is not joking. Say it again. God is not joking, because he is not. The blessing he spoke over your life, the abundance he promised in the secret place, the provision he whispered to you when no one else was listening, none of it was metaphor. None of it was poetry. It was prophecy. And prophecy does not expire. Now let me show you something that will make your spirit stand at attention. There are 5 signs that confirm you are the one chosen to receive this billionaire blessing. And when I say billionaire, I am not speaking loosely. I am speaking about the kind of overflow that changes your bloodline. The kind of wealth that builds hospitals and funds orphanages and pays off the mortgages of people you have never met. God is not thinking small about you. Stop thinking small about yourself. The first sign is this. You have had dreams about money that felt different from normal dreams, not fantasies, not wishful thinking. These dreams had weight. You woke up and your chest felt full, like something had been deposited inside of you during the night. You may have dreamed about checks, about properties, about walking into buildings you did not recognize, but somehow knowing they belonged to you. That was not your subconscious playing tricks. That was the Father showing you the blueprint of what he already built in the spirit realm. He was giving you a tour of your future, and the reason those dreams felt heavy, the reason they stayed with you long after you woke up, is because they carried the weight of reality. Dreams from God do not fade the way fantasies do. They linger, they echo, they press against your waking life until you cannot ignore them anymore. The second sign is that you have experienced financial loss that made no logical sense. You did everything right. You worked hard. You saved. You were faithful. And still, the money disappeared. Still, the opportunity collapsed. Still, the door closed in your face, and everyone around you had an explanation. Bad timing, bad economy, bad luck. But none of those explanations ever sat right in your spirit, did they? Because deep down you knew that loss was not punishment. It was preparation. God was clearing the table so he could set a feast you could not have imagined. The third sign is subtle but powerful. People have started treating you differently around money. Some avoid the topic with you. Others have suddenly become generous toward you in unexpected ways. A friend paid for dinner without being asked. A stranger offered you a discount you did not request. A family member mentioned you in their will, and you had no idea. These are not coincidences. These are the early tremors of a financial earthquake that is about to split open the ground beneath your feet and release what has been buried there since before you were born. The fourth sign hits different because it does not look spiritual at all. It looks like frustration. It is a feeling of restlessness about your current financial situation that will not go away. You are not lazy. You are not ungrateful. But something inside of you keeps saying, this is not it. This is not all. There is more. And no matter how many times you try to silence that voice, it comes back louder. That restlessness is not discontentment. It is divine dissatisfaction. It is the Holy Spirit refusing to let you settle for a fraction of what the Father allocated for your life. The fifth sign is the simplest and the most undeniable. You are still here. You are still listening. Most people scrolled past this long ago. Most people dismissed this as noise. But you did not. And that is not willpower. That is not curiosity. That is the Spirit of the living God holding your attention. Because what is about to be spoken over your life in the next few moments requires your full presence. If you are still here, something in you recognized this was yours before your mind could catch up. Say this with me now. The blessing moves. Not tomorrow, not someday, not when I am ready. The blessing moves now, because God does not operate on your timeline. He operates on His promise. And His promise to you was abundance beyond measure, provision beyond logic, wealth beyond what your current mind can even calculate. That is not motivational talk. That is Scripture made manifest in your life today. Now I need to address something directly, because I know what you have been carrying. I know the weight of it. You believe in God. You believe in His promises. You have faith, real faith, tested faith. The kind of faith that survived seasons that should have broken you, and yet the money has not moved. The account has not changed. The bills are still there. The debt is still real. And there is this quiet voice, not the enemy, not doubt exactly, but something more exhausting. A voice that says, maybe God promised abundance to other people. Maybe the blessing is real, but it is not for me. Maybe I missed my window. I need to tell you something about that voice. It is not telling you the truth, but it is not lying either. It is describing a real condition, just the wrong one. What you are experiencing is not the absence of blessing. It is the presence of something I call the prosperity lock. And understanding this will change everything. The prosperity lock works like this. God sends the financial blessing. He releases it. It is real. It is moving. It is already in transit toward your life. But when it arrives at the door of your mind, it finds the door locked. Not because you do not want it. Not because you are unworthy. But because your neural capacity, the part of your brain that recognizes and receives opportunity, has been locked into a pattern of survival. And survival mode cannot process abundance. It can only process threat. So the blessing knocks. And your brain, running on the same patterns it learned during your hardest years, does not hear a knock. It hears noise, and it ignores it. And what survival mode does at the neurological level is exactly what Dr. Roger Sperry proved in 1981. It splits the brain. The left hemisphere locks into threat detection. The right hemisphere, the one that perceives opportunity, recognizes divine provision, and receives the shepherd that God has already sent, goes quiet. The prosperity lock is not just spiritual. It has a neurological mechanism, and that mechanism can be addressed. This is why good people stay broke. Not because God forgot them, not because they lack faith, but because the lock was never removed. Think about it. How many times has an opportunity appeared in your life and you talked yourself out of it? How many times did someone offer you help and you said no because you did not want to be a burden? How many times did a door open just a crack and instead of pushing through, you stepped back because something inside you said, "This cannot be real." That was not wisdom. That was the prosperity lock activating, and it has been running in the background of your mind for years, maybe decades. But here is where the story changes, because you are not the person you were when that lock was installed. You have walked through fire. You have survived betrayal. You have held on to faith when faith gave you nothing visible to hold on to. And that journey, that painful, beautiful, relentless journey, was God preparing you to receive a new key. Not a key made of effort, not a key made of positive thinking, a key made of neural realignment. The same brain that was locked can be unlocked. And when it is, the blessings that have been circling your life like planes waiting to land will finally have a runway. This is not bad luck. This is divine delay with a billionaire destination. You are not broke, you are being positioned, and the positioning is almost complete. Let that land for a moment. Just breathe. You have been carrying this weight for a long time. The weight of wondering why. The weight of comparing your timeline to the harvest of someone else. You do not need to carry that anymore. Set it down right here. Not because the answer is simple, but because the answer is already in motion, and you deserve to receive it with open hands, not clenched fists. Now I want to take you back in time for a moment, because there is a man in Scripture whose story mirrors yours in ways that will make your spirit tremble. His name is Nehemiah. He was a cupbearer, a servant, a man with a position that paid his bills but not his purpose. And inside of him lived a vision that made no sense to anyone around him. He wanted to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, the entire city, from ruins. With no resources, no team, no funding, and no permission. And everyone around him thought he was dreaming. His friends thought it was grief talking. The people closest to him changed the subject whenever he brought it up. Sound familiar? But Nehemiah was not dreaming. He was hearing. He was hearing the voice of God tell him that the resources would come, not before the vision, after the step. And when Nehemiah finally opened his mouth and asked the king for permission and provision, the king said yes, not because Nehemiah was persuasive, because God had already prepared the heart of the king before Nehemiah ever opened his mouth. The provision was in motion before the request was spoken. God did not respond to the faith of Nehemiah. God had already responded before Nehemiah even knew he had faith. There is a word in Hebrew that describes what happened to Nehemiah. The word is shefa. It means divine overflow, not just enough, not scraping by. Overflow, abundance that spills past the edges of what you asked for. Shefa is what happens when God releases resources that have been held in reserve for a specific person at a specific time. And I want you to hear me when I say this. You are standing at your Nehemiah moment right now. The walls you have been staring at, the financial ruins you have been living inside of, they are about to be rebuilt. Not slowly, not piece by piece. With shefa, with divine overflow that will make the people around you ask, "What happened to you?" Say these words now. Let them land in your chest. Let them settle into your bones. I receive this. Not someday. Not when I understand it. I receive this now. Because receiving is not about comprehension. It is about surrender. And surrender is the only posture that allows shefa to enter your life without your survival brain slamming the door shut. Now, I want to tell you about something that almost no one is talking about. Something I discovered that connects everything I have been sharing with you today to a physical, measurable change in the human brain. And before I tell you what it is, I want you to notice something. Notice how your body feels right now compared to when you first started listening. Something has already shifted. Your breathing may have slowed. Your shoulders may have dropped. The noise in your mind may have quieted, even if just a little. That shift is not imagination. It is neurological. And what caused it is the beginning of a process that, when completed, has been shown to unlock capacities in the human mind that most people never access in their entire lifetime. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let me come back to this in a moment, because first, there is another pattern I need to show you. There is a second condition that works alongside the prosperity lock, and it may be even more dangerous because it is invisible to the person trapped inside it. I call it the billion-dollar fog. And if you have ever looked back on your life and realized that a massive opportunity was sitting right in front of you and you completely missed it, then you already know what this fog does. But you did not know it had a name, and you did not know it was a condition that can be reversed. The billion-dollar fog works like this. When the brain is operating in a divided state, when the left and right hemispheres are not synchronized, it creates a cognitive haze. Everything you see gets filtered through that haze. And what the haze does is brilliant and terrible at the same time. It takes divine provision and disguises it as ordinary coincidence. Someone mentions a business idea to you, and instead of recognizing it as the financial doorway God just opened, your foggy brain categorizes it as random conversation. An unexpected check arrives in the mail, and instead of seeing it as the first drop of a coming flood, you see it as a lucky break. The fog reclassifies miracles as accidents, and you move on. And the blessing that was sitting in your lap gets pushed to the floor. The reason this fog is so dangerous for the chosen ones specifically is because chosen ones are often the most intelligent, the most discerning, the most analytical people in the room. And that intelligence becomes a weapon against them when the fog is active, because the fog uses your own logic to talk you out of your blessing. It gives you perfectly reasonable explanations for why that opportunity was not from God. It feeds you evidence that the timing was wrong, that the risk was too high, that you should wait for something better. And you listen, because it sounds like wisdom. But it is not wisdom, it is fog. And there is a difference between discernment and blindness, dressed in smart clothing. They see struggle. God sees preparation. They see confusion. God sees a fog that is about to burn off under the heat of revelation. And revelation is exactly what is happening to you right now as you listen. Every word that lands in your spirit is raising the temperature. Every truth that clicks into place is thinning the haze. And by the time we are done here today, you will see things you could not see this morning. Doors that were invisible will become obvious. Opportunities that your fog brain dismissed will come flooding back into your memory with new clarity. And you will understand, maybe for the first time, that God was never withholding. You were never forgotten. The abundance was always there. You just could not see it through the fog. Most people scrolled past this, but you stayed. You stayed because the fog is already lifting. And what is underneath it is more beautiful and more terrifying than you expected. Beautiful because the provision is real. Terrifying because receiving it will require you to become someone your survival self does not recognize. But that is the invitation. That has always been the invitation. And I want to be honest with you for a moment. The fog does not just affect your finances. It affects how you see yourself. It makes the chosen one look in the mirror and see someone ordinary, someone who got dealt a bad hand. But that is the fog talking, not God. God looks at you and sees the person who will fund the kingdom initiative that changes a city. Your survival brain cannot fathom that, but your spirit already knows it is true. Now I want to teach you something practical, something you can do right now, today, before you go to sleep tonight, that will begin the process of clearing the billion-dollar fog and activating what I call the abundance antenna, because your brain, right now, in its current state, is like a radio tuned to static. The signal of divine provision is broadcasting. It never stopped broadcasting, but your antenna is pointed in the wrong direction. And no amount of prayer, no amount of fasting, no amount of faith declarations will fix a misaligned antenna. You need to realign it, and realignment is a neurological process, not just a spiritual one. Here is what I want you to do. Before you go any further, close your eyes for just a moment. I want you to do a body scan. Start at the top of your head. Notice any tension there. Move down to your forehead, your jaw. Are you clenching? Let it go. Move to your shoulders, your chest, your stomach, your hands. Just notice. Do not judge. Do not fix. Just notice where your body is holding stress. Because every point of tension in your body right now is a point where your abundance antenna is blocked. Stress compresses the neural pathways that allow you to perceive opportunity. It narrows your field of vision to threats only, and you cannot receive a billion-dollar blessing through a threat filter. Good. That scan already began the process of opening your neural pathways. You just did what most people never pause long enough to do, and that is the first act of antenna realignment. Now here is the three-step process. Step 1. Every morning before you check your phone, before you read a single message, sit in silence for 3 minutes and say this phrase 10 times. I am open to receive what God has already sent. Do not rush it. Let each repetition land deeper than the last. This is not affirmation. This is antenna calibration. You are telling your brain, before the noise of the day begins, to scan for provision instead of threat. Step 2. Once during the day, ideally at the moment you feel most stressed about money, stop, place both hands over your heart, and say, the fog is not reality. The fog is a filter. I choose to see what God sees. This interrupts the neural loop that the billion-dollar fog runs on. It breaks the cycle for just long enough to let light in. And sometimes, just a crack of light is all you need to see the door that was there all along. Step 3. Before you sleep, replay your day in your mind. But instead of reviewing what went wrong, look for the provision you may have missed. The person who smiled at you. The idea that popped into your head uninvited. The phone call that came from nowhere. Train your brain to categorize these as signals, not noise. Because your abundance antenna does not turn on overnight, it calibrates through repetition. And each night you do this, the frequency gets a little clearer. The static fades a little more. And one morning, you will wake up and you will see it. The billion-dollar blessing that was sitting in your life the whole time, waiting for you to notice. The fog lifts now. Say it with me. The fog lifts now. Not gradually, not eventually, now. Because every moment of clarity you have experienced while listening to this, every time your spirit leaped, every time something clicked, that was the fog lifting in real time. And once it starts, it does not stop, not unless you let it. There is a missing piece to everything you have heard today. You felt it as I was talking, a gap between knowing the truth and living it. Between understanding that God is not joking and actually seeing the billion-dollar blessing show up in your bank account, that gap is real. And it is not your fault. It is neurological, and it is about to close. You are a chosen one. And that is not a title you earn. It is an identity you accept. The blessing that God attached to your name does not require your perfection. It requires your alignment. It requires the lock to turn, the fog to lift, and the antenna to point toward heaven. And that process, for you, has already begun. Here is what we now know from decades of brain research. The human brain operates in two halves. The left hemisphere handles logic, language, analysis. The right hemisphere handles intuition, creativity, pattern recognition. In most adults, these two halves are working in isolation, not together, not synchronized. And when they are divided, the brain can only access a fraction of its full capacity. A study conducted by NASA found that 98% of children tested at genius-level capacity. By adulthood, that number had dropped to 2%, not because we became less intelligent, but because the two halves of our brain stopped talking to each other. The bridge between them, the neural connection that allows whole brain activation, goes quiet. And when it goes quiet, the prosperity lock engages. The billion-dollar fog rolls in, and the chosen one walks past the very provision God placed in their path. In 1981, Dr. Roger Sperry won the Nobel Prize for his research on split brain function. What he discovered changed neuroscience forever. He proved that when the two hemispheres of the brain are forced to operate independently, the person loses access to capacities they never knew they had. And the reverse is also true. When the two hemispheres are brought into synchronization, into whole brain activation, the person begins to perceive, process, and respond to reality in ways that appear almost supernatural. And I use that word intentionally, because what neuroscience calls whole brain activation, the scriptures call walking in the Spirit. Same process, different language, same result. Access to wisdom, clarity, and provision that the divided mind cannot reach. Before I tell you about the specific tool that makes this possible, I want you to hear from two people whose lives were changed by this process. A woman from California, a woman I will call Sarah, had been praying for financial breakthrough for 7 years. 7 years of faithfulness, 7 years of tithing, 7 years of believing, and nothing moved. She was exhausted. But what she described was not exhaustion of effort, it was exhaustion of hope. She said she felt like the prosperity lock had been on so long she had forgotten what the door even looked like. And in a quiet moment of honesty, she told me she had started to believe the Shephah, the overflow, the Nehemiah-level abundance, was for other people. People whose faith was stronger, whose hands were cleaner. Within 3 weeks of beginning this process, something shifted that she could not fully explain. She described it as walking through a neighborhood she had driven past 100 times and suddenly seeing the houses. The provision was not new. The opportunities were not new, but they were suddenly visible in a way they had not been before. And within 4 months, she said the Shephah arrived. Not a lottery win, not a windfall. Something better. A steady, accelerating flow of open doors that she described as recognizing, like they had been waiting for her to see them. A man from Texas had a different experience. He was not struggling financially. He was doing fine, but fine was the problem. He described looking at a business idea he had carried in the back of his mind for 3 years. He knew it was good, but every time he tried to see it clearly enough to act, the billion-dollar fog would reclassify it. It is too risky. The timing is off. Someone already did this. He would file it under later and move on. After 2 weeks of this process, he said the fog lifted on that idea in a single afternoon, not gradually, like a curtain being pulled back. The same idea he had dismissed as ordinary conversation a dozen times was suddenly recognizable for exactly what it was. Not luck, not coincidence. A provision that had been waiting for a receiver operating at the right frequency. He launched it within 60 days. The business changed the trajectory of his family, not because the idea was new, because his brain could finally hold it in focus long enough to move. What Sarah and David both used is called the genius switch. It was developed by Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist based in New York, who spent years studying why certain people seem to receive divine provision effortlessly, while others, equally faithful, equally deserving, remain stuck. What he discovered is a technology called neural sync, which uses a specific guided audio process to bring the left and right hemispheres of the brain into synchronization, not over months, not over years. In 8 minutes, 8 minutes a day, with a pair of headphones, and your brain begins to build the bridge that has been dormant since childhood. And this is where it all connects. Because what the genius switch activates is what I call the promise receptor. The promise receptor is the neural state where your brain is no longer filtering out divine provision. It is no longer reclassifying miracles as coincidence. It is no longer slamming the door on the blessing that has been knocking for years. The blessings that were reclassified as coincidence will begin registering as what they always were, the opportunity